The farewell of a patriarch. The sun had barely risen over the hills of Egypt when the air seemed to shimmer with a strange, sacred quiet. Joseph, clothed in the dignity of years and wisdom, walked through the corridors of his grand house. His heart was heavy with a mixture of grief and gratitude. The father who had guided him through the storms of life, the beloved Jacob, had breathed his last. Yet even in death, Jacob's presence lingered, a gentle whisper in the walls, a warmth in Joseph's chest. Mourning in Egypt. Joseph's brothers, once fearful of his power and distant kindness, now approached him with bowed heads, trembling under the weight of past guilt. The loss of Jacob had awakened something tender and human within them, a recognition of the bonds they had fractured with envy and fear. Joseph, feeling the waves of emotion, reminded them that though life had been filled with trials and misunderstandings, the hand of Providence had always guided them, turning their dark intentions into a path of survival and blessing. And with this wisdom, Joseph forgave them, not with mere words, but with a heart as expansive as the desert sky. The journey to Canaan. The journey to bury Jacob was like stepping into a tapestry of memory and miracle. Caravans wound through valleys and over hills, accompanied by Joseph's brothers and the elders of Egypt. The land of Canaan stretched before them, sun-drenched and fragrant with wildflowers, olive trees, and the scent of fertile earth. Joseph carried with him his father's remains, feeling the weight of history and promise in every step. The people of Canaan watched in awe as this grand procession honored the patriarch whose dreams had shaped generations. The burial at Machpelah. At Machpelah, the cave that had become a resting place for Abraham and Sarah, Isaac and Rebekah, Joseph gently laid his father's body to rest. Stones were carefully rolled to seal the tomb, each one a testament to faith, memory, and the enduring connection of generations. The land itself seemed to mourn and rejoice together, the wind sighing through the olive trees, whispering prayers of remembrance and hope. With Jacob now returned to the soil of his ancestors, Joseph and his brothers felt a mixture of sorrow and relief, the kind that only comes after fulfilling a sacred duty. Life after loss. After the burial, Joseph returned to Egypt. Life continued in the grand courts and fertile fields, yet the shadow of his father's guidance remained. The Pharaoh's favor still shone upon him, and the people respected his wisdom and mercy. But within the palace, Joseph's heart was attentive to the lessons Jacob had taught him: patience, forgiveness, humility, and the courage to see God's purpose in the twists of fortune. His brothers, relieved and inspired by Joseph's forgiveness, settled into their lives, carrying the seeds of reconciliation and faith into their households. Joseph's assurance. In the quiet of his chambers, Joseph pondered the years of hardship, the betrayal, the rise to power, and the ultimate reunion with his family. He knew the tapestry of his life had been guided by divine providence. He reminded himself that every sorrow and challenge had been a step toward preservation, not only for himself but for the countless generations that would follow. His father's dreams, now fulfilled in ways Jacob could never have imagined, had become a living reality, echoing through the halls of Egypt and the hills of Canaan. The final days of Joseph. As Joseph grew older, he remained a pillar of wisdom and strength. Even as death approached him, he did not fear, for he had seen the unfolding of God's promise. Before he breathed his last, he gathered his family and shared a vision of hope, instructing them that when God would finally lead them from Egypt, they should carry his bones back to the land of promise. Joseph's life was a testament to faith, resilience, and the enduring power of forgiveness. When he finally passed away, he was laid to rest in Egypt, but his spirit remained alive in the hearts of the people, a beacon of God's guidance through life's storms. Reflections and lessons. Genesis 50 is a chapter of closure, forgiveness, and divine orchestration. The story teaches that even in the midst of grief and betrayal, compassion and understanding can transform human relationships. Joseph's example shows that forgiving those who have wronged us is not only a gift to others but a source of inner peace. The careful honoring of Jacob's burial illustrates respect for ancestry, memory, and promises kept. Finally, the chapter emphasizes the belief that God's providence works through every event, turning trials into instruments of survival and blessing. It encourages readers to see beyond immediate hardships and recognize the long, unfolding arc of purpose in life, teaching patience, faith, and the beauty of reconciliation.